That's it. We just want to win for our team.
My goodness! And Amy finishes it!
Yeah, we're just as good as men. We're better.
It's a huge point for the Bay Area.
Good chance that's the #1 highlight of the week.
Welcome back. It is session number 2 on day number 1 of week number 10 of MLTT, Major League Table Tennis, the first ever professional American table tennis league, and we are coming to you live from Winter Haven, Florida. Are you guys ready for the action? Yeah. All righty, well get ready because first, we're going to bring in our officials. Put your hands together for Wendy Pan and Jovana Knežević. And the first team coming in right now at 3rd place with 168 points. It's time for a revolution. Put your hands together for the Princeton Revolution. And their opponents, the 2nd place team with 181 points. You've been waiting for them your entire life. Get up and chomp for your very own Florida Crocs! Ooh, those teeth are sharp. Well, now that all the warriors are here, let's shake some hands and slap some skins and let the games begin.
We march onward into the night session on this Friday in Winter Haven, Florida. We are inside the Advent Health Fieldhouse, right around the corner from the old minor league and spring training ballpark that has been part of the Grapefruit League for so many years in professional baseball. Winter Haven, plenty of lakes, plenty of alligators. We'll see how the Crocs fare tonight. The standings show that this is a very important match. Florida begins this weekend 13 points clear of Princeton, but the Revolution have made up ground, trying to surge back into the playoff race. And certainly this is going to be a tone-setting evening here at the Fieldhouse in Winter Haven with Matt Hetherington. I'm Evan Lepler. Thanks for joining us. The Princeton Revolution have made gradual strides. They've got their top lineup. Florida has been a little iffy. This feels like a real turning point in both these teams' season here tonight.
Yeah, and I think the energy for Florida started out the season really high. They were just crushing it in the Golden Games, bringing home the results, and they have kind of faltered a little bit. I feel like Daniel Gorak hasn't been able to push himself into and keep himself in that lead role, which has affected the team a little bit. If you consider the fact that the last time these two teams met, the Princeton Revolution were able to take home the win with a slightly weaker lineup than they have with them this time. They didn't have Koyo Kanemitsu, they didn't have Wang Jinshin in their lineup, so it's going to be really interesting to see how things go with those two star players back in their lineup here this week.
So we got Jishan Liang versus Mark Duran. These two guys played a very exciting match a month ago. Jishan took 2 out of 3. In the second singles spot, Koyo Kanemitsu and Benjamin Brossier will be the first time that those two players are matching up in MLTT. But let's start with Jishan and Mark, two players that have stylistic differences, I think, to their games, and it'll be interesting to see how they clash, especially for the second consecutive months. They're more familiar with each other now.
Yeah, I think Duran is, as I've kind of described him, a bit of a Pandora's box. You back him off the table and you never know what's coming. There's chops and two-handed backhands and kind of forehand flat hits and all kinds of different shots when he's backed off the table. I feel like the last time they played, Jishan had a really, really strong start, but he wasn't able to get all 3 games. And I think Duran just finds ways of kind of disrupting his opponent, casting a little bit of doubt into their mind about shots that feel like they might be simple. So, you know, Duran's a very tricky opponent. It's going to be interesting to see how things start out here in this first opening game.
These are two teams that are certainly trending in opposite directions. Florida against East Division opponents has won just 1 of its last 5 matches. And remember, Princeton really struggled September, October, but my, have they turned it on. They figured something out. Let's see what happens tonight. Both you and Sean O'Neill have said many times that you think Jishan Liang has the most powerful forehand in the league.
That's not going to change in season 1. If someone shows up next season, then we can potentially reevaluate, but I think he's a pretty big standout when it comes to forehand power.
3-0.
So I ask this not to diss on Jishan, but if his forehand is so strong, then why is he number 35 in the MLTT power rankings?
Because there's more to the game than having a big forehand, and
0-5.
sometimes you have a really strong weapon, but you can play against someone like Enzo, for example, who can completely shut it down and take it out of the game. And then you're playing out there with not a strong forehand. And, you know, as I said, the last time these two played in the 3rd game, despite Jishan having what you could almost consider to be the perfect start, Duran still found a way of making the pace difficult and really forcing a lot of errors. I mean, when you have a forehand that big, it's also very risky as well.
6-1.
Backhand with some sauce to it there as well from Jishan. How about that? Liang looked like he was out of the point. He ends up taking it. He's got an 8-1 lead.
Yeah, this is kind of reminiscent of how these two started last time.
How does Duran boomerang this in his favor?
Be pretty tough for him to boomerang the first game in his favor from here. I think certainly pinning Jishan on the backhand, being prepared when the forehands come to try and counter it out wider to the forehand. Wide forehand's always a viable strategy against left-handers, but also you have to be very decisive. If you play anything soft, play anything with hesitation, it's probably going to sit up a little bit. And a player like Jishan Liang is just going to blitz a home run out of it.
Big swing from Liang. Unable to finish the game there. But he's got a bunch more chances right here. He's out of the Desantalon playbook there from Duran.
Yeah, and that's the kind of play that would make someone like Jishan uncomfortable. You can see he played through the first ball, but then just totally backed out of the point. when the ball came back.
Leong built the
Game. Revolution.
8-1 lead and closes out the game 11-6. So maybe a few building blocks for Duran to gain a little bit of belief as he heads into game 2, but a convincing game 1 win for Jishan Leong.
Time.
So Jishan Leong takes game 1 11-6 over Mark Duran. And we'll see if the Spaniard
Second
can
game,
rally back here.
Revolution serve,
Mark's from
0-0.
Barcelona. You have compared him and his stylistic preferences and effort, which can be relentless at times, to Rafael Nadal.
I compared his grit to kind of a Spanish bull.
I oversold it there, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I can't remember, the context of it was you comparing someone else to Nadal. I've forgotten who it was.
It might have been Brassia.
I think so. And then I said, if you're going to pick someone, oh, that is irretrievable.
3,
Totally irretrievable. That bounced back into the net. And you don't see that
4,
very often.
No.
1.
That is a tough netball.
And you wouldn't call that a perfect shot, would you? Even though it was?
It's close to it. Yeah.
Jishan's locked in.
1, 5.
Yes, but also this is exactly what we saw last time. So the thing for him is, can he stay locked in for 3 games? I feel like he's got to have learned something from last time. If he's playing this well now, he has to be able to win 3-0. And remembering the situation and the position that the
1,
Revolution are
6.
in, every game counts here. You don't want a player who's capable and in a position to win 3-0 to come out with a 2-1 win. At some point,
2.
I guess as a team coach, you have to say, okay, it's not really acceptable if you're in this position for you to only win 2-1. You have to go for those 3-0 wins.
7.
Princeton, since starting 1-6, has won 7 of their last 9 matches to get back to the 500 mark for the season. They're 8-8,
8.
and 8-8 in Golden Games as well. They're 3-1 against Florida, so despite trailing the Crocs in the standings, Princeton has outplayed the Crocs over the course of the season. And Jishan is outplaying his adversary right now here in Winter Haven.
9, 3.
This is a big second chance for the Crocs. I mean, they had their home game in Florida at Broward last time. Didn't perform too well. They get another chance back-to-back to try and lift their game for the home audience. You can see
9, 4.
scattered amongst the audience a few Crocs shirts.
We've seen home
4,
court
10.
advantage help teams in certain situations, like certainly Portland benefited from it. But you know, Texas struggled in Texas. Florida had a great Daytona Beach weekend in September, but struggled in Broward County, Florida in January.
Chicago and Chicago.
Yeah, struggled. I'll do it for game 2.
11-5.
11-6 in game 1, 11-5 in game 2. So those encouraging moments of belief at the end of game 1 didn't really lead to much in game 2. We'll see if G-Shock can keep it rolling, if Durant can bounce back. 2-0 Princeton, emphatically.
Because this is a home game for the Florida Crocs. But where I'm sitting, I'm hearing a lot more noise for the Princeton Revolution. It feels like the Princeton Revolution home.
Where are we? I don't know. I haven't looked at GPS in a long time. I just got off the plane. Satoko, where are we? Where are we? Winter Haven, Florida. Oh, Florida! You guys like the Crocs? Don't say it like I'm forcing you. Yeah, I guess we do like the Crocs if we have to. This is your home team. Yeah, let's go, Crocs. All right. When you see this once, it's not easy right now. He's showing off his strong. Durant has everything. He's got everything. But right now,
So 2-0 lead for Princeton. Let's revisit the standings just to point something out. Look at the singles column. And notice which team in this division has struggled relative to the others in singles. Obviously, the doubles team of Gorak and Ekholm has been excellent, but from a singles standpoint, the Crocs have left a lot to be desired, and if that trend continues, that's good news for Princeton.
Yeah, I think if you look back at those standings, we talked about this in the first matchup of tonight about how players have adapted to the Golden Game, and I think the other teams in the beginning of the season were weaker in the Golden Game. Crocs were strong in the Golden Game. I think that's changed a lot, and the individual matches are now starting to hurt them more than before.
Timeout Florida. Let's listen into the coach Frank Arias.
Te vi frustrado y por eso lo pedí, para que te calme un poco y vuelve a plantear tu estrategia.
Timeouts. It's an interesting thing. What do you say on timeouts? Well, sometimes it's tactical. Sometimes it's a coach and the bench recognizing. By the way, you can have anyone on the team coach.
El saque quizás más al centro de su cuerpo, o sea, ni aquí ni en el backhand. El backhand tiene el efecto a su favor. En el centro que tenga que recibirte un poco más y preparado para atacar.
You can have two coaches, one for each language. But normally, outside of teams, you only have one coach. The whole bench can coach you. They can offer some advice and say, hey, I notice it's effective if you serve long to his back. Or he loves to step around the backhand corner.
Take your time, don't rush. Tú tienes buen feeling, juega con eso, juega con el bote de la bola, le das por el lado.
Vamos, Mark, vamos.
So there's a lot of tactical conversation there and what will work and what won't work. From my perspective, Matt, we're just not seeing the fiery Mark Durant body language. Like, he looks defeated right now. And no celebration after winning that point. No come on, no let's go, no vamos. He's won 2 points in a row since the timeout.
I think there was also a lot going on in that timeout for him. I mean, you have 4 different players, well, 3 different players and a coach, kind of trying to put in pieces for you to try and puzzle together. And it's difficult to know what's going to help and what's going to hinder during a timeout. I think given the way things have gone, I'm a little surprised that they used one of their 2 timeouts at this stage already.
I mean, I agree with you, and my thought was like Mark Durant just didn't look like Mark Durant out there. Like, it might not be a timeout for this game, but it's a timeout for the weekend to get your number 2 player playing with some passion, which is what he needs.
3-6.
But meanwhile, Jishan is just cooking right now.
7-3.
Jishan has outscored his opponent 29-14.
Right now, Duran just doesn't look like even he knows how to get out of this one.
4-8.
This is exactly what Matthias Habasan was looking for. Perhaps not that swing, but everything else we've seen so far in this match, for the most part. Coach of the Revolution must be pleased. Jishan Liang's opening game performance. Jishan entered this one 14-13 in singles, so just barely over 500, but this is going to give him a pretty good cushion in that department.
10-5.
The question is, can Jishan play well in the Golden game? He's struggled in that aspect of his game, and Duran sends it back.
10.
Not done just yet. But again, no let's go. No real passion or emotion from Duran after that point.
Seven, 10.
Duran just making some simple decisions here that have won him points.
What has he done?
Just focusing on placement. Not really trying to do too much. He's just trying to play in a clever way. Fading the ball out wide to the forehand when he sees Jishan stepping around.
Well, from 10-5, it's now 10-9.
Revolution.
And Matthias Habasan's going to take a timeout. He will not want to let this one slip away. It looked like Jishan was on cruise control toward a 3-0 sweep. Let's listen in to the Revolution huddle.
Okay. You just know, you just make straight, much downspin. Okay? Yes. Much underspin. Just much underspin. And then after the cells, you put that. So it's getting short, you get a little bit half long, and then you make much spin. Not fast, much spin. So you just focus. Positive. Next one.
Underspin. So have no loop from middle, just spin. No power, and then next one, get ready.
Just simple. Just simple. Yeah. Okay? Come on, I'm positive. You keep me moving. Yeah. Keep moving. Come on. Bump. Let's go.
What do you think about that message, trust the simple?
I mean, it's worked for Duran. I mean, he basically looked like he was down and out there in the second half, or in the first half of his third game, but just doing small, simple things has helped get him where he needs to be.
And that will close out the game. Jishan sweeps Duran 3 straight, 11-6, 11-5, and got a little hairy at the end of the third. But after the timeout, Liang keeps it simple. Short serve, underspin, and get enough for this forehand. Off the net, off the table. Out of the game for Duran, and a 3-0 lead for Princeton.
College, there was some of the highest energy years of my life. Just saying. Just saying. Rap, you had a question. Talk to me.
Yeah, what if, say, the guy on the right side hits the net, goes over the net.
Well, Jishan Liang joins us now after the 3-0 sweep. Jishan, we were listening in on the huddle during the timeout. We heard Coach say, trust the simple. What was your mindset going into that last point?
Yeah, usually I serve, today I serve underspin and no spin is what's worked really well. And when I lead third game 10-5, I try to change some side spin or try to do different receive. It's not work, yeah. So, yeah, also because I play a lot of tournament in January, it's a lot that happened like 2-0 up and I couldn't finish. So I still try to figure out how can I finish the match now.
Yeah, I was going to come back to that because last time you played him, the first 2 games were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so when he started coming back in the end there, I thought, come on, this can't happen again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what kind of things do you think, I mean, even coming out of that timeout and knowing that you should have confidence and just keeping really simple serves and spinning the first ball, is that something that you're going to take away with you to kind of implement if you're up 2-0 in matches?
Yeah, basically, even 10-5, I want to keep the same, but when I serve, I always change. I don't know why. But yeah, I also 10-8, I try to call timeout. But this is for team tournament. I'm thinking like, should I take timeout or not? I'm waiting for the coach to make decision 10-9, but that's good call. So I can stop and I can listen other people or 2 or 3 teammates. They say, oh, you have to keep the same. And then, yeah, I can follow.
Jishan, what aspect of your performance were you most pleased about in getting 3 points?
Yeah, because today also really important because almost in the end of the season, we try our best and try to win more points.
Very good. Congratulations on the 3-0 sweep. We will see you in doubles here shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excited for the second singles match, Matt. Koyo Kanemitsu and Benjamin Brossier. You guys both play exciting styles. I'm curious, we did not talk about this beforehand, who you think has the edge going into this collision?
I would give Koyo the edge against a number of players here in this league if he plays his best table tennis.
0-1.
I think we've seen some moments where he's played really well, but there's been a lot of inconsistency, and I think his focus kind of dwindles on and off. So I think if he can win the first game, then he will have the edge, but it really comes down to focus.
Brossier is no slouch.
No, Brossier, I mean, he's going to come out of the box all guns blazing. You know, even last time when we saw the rest of the Florida team struggling, Brossier was 100% all in. And in all honesty, that's probably, I think Brossier has been really an MVP for the Crocs because as their energy has kind of dwindled, his has remained the same throughout the season. Like, he's really brought everything to the table.
Koyo's on the board. Brossier
1-4.
jumped out to the 4-0 lead.
I mean, Kanemitsu is just such a nice, clean, technical player to watch. But then you mix in stuff like that.
You feel like that's just a point given away?
Totally given away. Totally given away.
Brossier was walking in here earlier, and MLTT executive John Yapala told him that, Benjamin, you're on my fantasy team. Somehow he's handled that pressure.
6-1.
So oftentimes can overwhelm a player, but brought the best out of Brossier here, 6-1.
Yeah, that's it. That's the reason. Yeah, I mean, this...
1-7.
When you look at a player like Koyo, who has such a great technical ability, this is just so underwhelming. Like, to watch a backhand-to-backhand rally, like, I want to see him lift the bar. I mean, that is... He makes it look so easy. And the technical precision's totally on point. I want to see that from him every point. It's really about which player writes the narrative, and I feel like Brossier from the first point. He writes the narrative of the match. And Koyo's kind of tailing along with it.
Ooh.
7-4.
Excellent short return there from Koyo. Can Kanamitsu get back into this game? If he wins this point, he'll have an opening. And he's got an opening. He's down 2. He's got 2 serves coming his way as they go to the towels at 7-5. Koyo from Tokyo, gone 14-7 in MLTT singles games. And a big roar from the Frenchman, 30-year-old Benjamin Brossier, Olympian in Rio in 2016.
Brossier just doing his best to play as deep as possible into the backhand of Koyo. He's caught him out twice there, right on the back line.
Ten, 5.
From 7-1 to 7-5 to 10-5. That caught the edge. Koyo still alive in this game. Had a lot of edge balls tonight.
I wish I got that many when I played.
Body bagged him there.
10.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the points that he plays where he's playing strong, they're incredibly impressive points.
Another game point for Brossier. Koyo has won 3 straight.
Great kick serve there from Koyo.
10-8.
A lot of topspin rotation on that.
How about this?
Well, Brossier did a good job with the serve. He got it right on the back line. Koyo managed to take it off the bounce there, and
Crocs.
the second timeout from the Florida Crocs is going to be gone in game 2.
Yeah, they are out of timeouts until the Golden game. Better make this one count.
Okay, what has been working? Center, backhand, change of speed, change of pace.
I don't know about you guys.
So no need to rush. So if you want to step around, so you have 2 serves. First time you serve, he did the flip, and you were stepping around, and you did it. Second time you serve, he just dropped it short. So if you want him to serve, just don't put too much underspin, so he needs to do the flip. Come on.
Frank Arias seems to be trying to encourage Brossier to serve so that he can allow Koyo to flick. Noting a lot of Koyo's backhand flicks have been cross-court. When we see Brossier serve maybe a short side top, let the flip come in and step around. Seems to be the strategy that Arias was encouraging. And it's exactly by the book. Frank Arias pulls it to a T.
What a point. It's a great return by Koyo. But Brossier on the 5th game point of the game. Handcuffs Kanamitsu. 11-9 for Brossier.
It will be a loss of sleep if he doesn't take the next 2 games. Remember, 3 points up for grabs. Here's looking at you, Benji Brosier. You see that picture? He's the Uncle Sam of the Florida Crocs. I like it. You too can play table tennis. That's what that said. So 2 more points up for grabs. Benji putting the Crocs on the scoreboard. Down by 2 now, 1-3. Remember, Florida Crocs, you're the number 2 team in the East. That said, it's a big chase for that spot because Carolina Gold Rush is way out in front.
So Benjamin Brossier gets the Florida Crocs on the board here in Winter Haven, Florida. An 11-9 win in Game 1 over Koyo Kanamitsu.
Can't be there live and watching in person.
That was a weird game. Brossier was sizzling hot at the start.
This is game
Koyo made a run. Brossier responded, a 10-5 lead, and then almost let it slip away.
Crocs to serve. 0,
After
0.
watching those ebbs and flows, what does that tell you about what you expect in Game 2?
That's hard to know what to expect. You never really know what you're going to get with Koyo. I feel like if he stays in these mid-pace backhand-to-backhand exchanges with Brossier, then it's just kind of it's going to drain him of points. He has to do something more decisive. You know, he's got to play the backhand with a little bit more pace. We've seen him when he gets in on the forehand, when he connects a couple of forehands together, some of the points look perfect. But we're seeing far too much backhand from him.
1.
And I think he's expecting more pace than there actually is as well.
2, 2. Let.
Brossier loading up the serve there.
For the first time, Kanamitsu has a lead.
He has just been solid in the rallies.
Speaking of solid.
Score 3.
This is the 10th weekend of MLTT action. It's the 5th East Division weekend exclusively. And it's natural to compare one weekend to another. I feel like we've seen some slow starts from top players in the first game of a match this weekend. Uncharacteristic to what we've seen throughout the season. Folks have kind of always come out ready to go.
I mean,
but coincidentally or concurrently, we've seen Game 2 turnarounds like this.
Yeah, it's interesting to see at this stage. I mean, given that the players know how important this weekend is in particular. Clips the net there.
8-3.
Koyo making a run here. He's finding more forehand. He's got to find more forehand. He's putting more pressure with the backhand. I think where he's really losing out is when he's playing soft. When he's playing soft against soft with the backhand, just not handling that timing well at all.
Let.
What was that serve?
4-9.
It's a French classic.
He's standing a foot behind the table.
Koyo just let it go.
Seriously.
It's a very old school serve. I mean, talking like probably early 70s, late 70s.
10-5.
But yeah, Alexis Lebrun has been using it recently. He's a French player who's pushed into the top 20 in the world with his brother, and the lollipop serve, as it's commonly called, is back.
Shades of game one. When Kanamitsu saved a bunch of game points. Rossier doing the same here in game two. And all of a sudden it's 10-8.
10-8.
I must say, Brossier's been looking pretty quick out there today. He's played an excellent match so far.
If it gets back to 10-10, do we see the lollipop again?
Your guess is as good as mine.
That's not true at all. Come on.
Player gets it done.
Great point. Kanamitsu able to close it out. And we got ourselves a rubber game coming up between Koyo and Brossier. We have seen a lot of game points saved tonight. Some runs when a player's been down 10-6, 10-7, 10-5. Kanamitsu able to close it out 11-8.
No, it cannot. It's sort of the etiquette is the word that I was looking for. That said, things have changed over the years, and I noticed that the Chinese women's national team is a little bit less of that than usual. But generally, anytime you get a point based on something that wasn't intended, whether it's the edge of the racket, the end of the table, the next ball was set up, the next ball really high, something like that. People tend to acknowledge their forces. So that's practice. If you want to make friends, don't show or celebrate. I've got some stories about that. But yeah,
time.
Making friends. It's good to offer the polite gesture of acknowledgement of the fortune. Back to the table.
So Brossier took game one, 11-9. Kanamitsu responded with an 11-8 win in game two. Onward to game three.
Revolution to serve. 0-0.
Princeton is a 4-1 lead. Will it be 5-1 or 4-2 heading into the doubles? Remember, Florida's doubles team has had the edge throughout the season. Good rally to start this game, and Kanamitsu's up 1-0.
Yeah, really, really important for Koyo to start applying more pressure with his backhand. Can't play those soft backhand exchanges. It also helps him set the pace, and I think the faster the pace goes, the more comfortable Koyo is. Momentum shifts here for Princeton Revolution.
Yeah, this is a critical point for Brossier, otherwise this could get away from him quick. He knows it. Takes a beat before the serve. Almost caught, but it did not.
4-0.
How close was this? Hard to tell from that angle, but from our angle, it looked like it was
a little long.
Maybe an inch.
Koyo running away with it.
5-0 lead, one-way traffic so far in game three. Borak and Ekholm have not lost a doubles match to Princeton all season long. They've lost a game. They've lost 3 games, in fact, but they are 9-3 in doubles games against the Revolution. It has not been without some adversity along the way. Gorak and Ekholm often find themselves down in games and take their way out of it.
I think they were in a pretty tough position last time against
Jishan and Angela.
Against Jishan and Angela, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Rossier lays out, got a paddle on it, but couldn't find the table.
No stranger to a bit of a dive. Seen him dive more than any other player this season, that's for sure.
Yep. Rossier wears his emotions on his sleeve. He plays so hard every point. But right now he is overmatched. You said it earlier, if Koyo's playing his best, he's tough to beat. And right now he has found the zone.
I mean, don't forget, this is a guy who got picked in the 8th round of the draft, Koyo Kanemitsu. I think his results in the Combine were pretty under par for where his level is at. Imagine being Princeton Revolution and picking up a guy like Koyo in your 8th round draft pick.
And a guy like Sonora Silva is a free agent. Slew of game points here at 10-2, and my goodness, that will go to Rossier. But it's over. 11-3 in game 3. All Kanemitsu. So it's a 5-1 lead for the Princeton Revolution. And the Crocs really need their doubles team of Gorak and Ekholm to step it up. Otherwise, the Revolution will be on display on the Crocs home turf.
Hassan asked me earlier, he said, what was that game where the whole team came out and played? And I said, Hassan,
joined now by
that's a
Koyo
wonderful
Kanemitsu.
question.
Congratulations, 2 out of 3, really strong performance. How did you feel better about your game as that match went along?
Yeah, because first game, at first point, I get half long attack. Then after, I was a little bit rush. And when he play backhand, like very slow tempo, that's I feel very uncomfortable.
So we've seen you in a lot of matches so far this season, and I keep saying when we're up here commentating your matches, this is a player when he's playing his best table tennis.
Yeah.
He can be big trouble for anybody in the league.
Yeah.
What is it going to take for you to come out here and start winning 3-0?
Yeah, because first it was
sometimes,
yeah.
Sometimes you start a little bit slow in a match. Sometimes you win the first 2 games and then you end a little bit slow.
Yeah,
what do you need to?
On
to
Friday is very difficult. Maybe at Saturday, Sunday when I fix it.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe tomorrow.
All right, we'll wait and see how
Are
tomorrow.
you his coach? You're really putting the pressure on him here, Matt.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Koyo.
To start this season, she's got defensive rubber.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
It's not bad, but I know that he needs. He's so capable of winning these matches 3-0. It reminded me of, there was a match when we did a post interview with him afterwards, after he'd won the first 2 and then he'd lost the 3rd game, and he just kind of chuckled afterwards and said, maybe I lost a little focus and played around a bit too much. It's just like, what is it going to take for you to get out here and get started?
In the world, in the top 20. And
I mean, he's such an incredible table tennis player.
Is one of the top women
It's
here.
just a big gap between his best points and his maybe even his average points.
And there's only one player I
So Gorak and Ekholm both to the table for the first time, and Angela Guan makes her debut appearance of the weekend. Saw Jishan earlier take 3 straight games in pretty convincing fashion from Mark Duran.
Put your hands together for your
Look, Gorak has not been his best the last couple East Division weekends, singles. From a doubles standpoint, Crocs went 6-3 a month ago. Ekholm will serve first to get us started.
That's a pretty good start from the Crocs.
What are the things you're looking for from a footwork and teamwork standpoint that tells you a team is locked in a doubles match early?
I think balance, in particular, of how they're in position for a shot, and then how they move around each other. So, you know, you can get a pretty good idea of the synergy just by looking at the flow of a point. So if a team looks like they're struggling and they're out of position, then you have to think about how their partner's setting them up for that ball. Or yeah, there's a lot of different factors. For me, doubles is really interesting. I mean, I'm left-handed, and the majority of titles that I won when I was playing, especially in New Zealand, were in doubles. And even when I played Australian Open, I only medaled in doubles. So doubles has a special place in my heart because it's the only thing that I'm good at.
It's not the only thing that you're good at, but it is your greatest strength.
That's one way of putting it.
Doubles and wearing stylish caps.
I'll take that.
Jishan Liang. Revolution in front 4-3.
Now this is what I've wanted to see more from Angela from day one, because she can really start messing up the rhythm and putting a lot more pressure on. You can see if she waits and she plays defensive and she chops, most of the male players in the East Division, they can wind up and they can take a swing at it. But when she's playing off the table with the pips, really makes a huge difference, just to mix it in sometimes, or to try and open with the forehand off the serve return.
Nice short drop shot from Gorak.
That's one thing that the Revolution hate to see. I've seen Gorak do that a number of times against DeSantalan in singles as well.
When you talk about the importance of balance, that shot basically removes your balance, forces you to charge forward even if you do get it back.
Yeah, and
talk about being on your heels, you're on your toes with all your momentum going forward.
Yeah, but also it's a sign that Gorak recognizes that Jishan is too far back from the table. Like, you know, Gorak can loop, but he puts himself at risk of being countered.
7-6.
This is one thing I've talked about a lot with this combination of Liang and Guan playing together, is that Jishan tends to back off the table as Angela moves backwards. And Jishan's not really a player that plays as strong from further back from the table. He needs to be in a kind of, at worst, at that mid-distance. Gorak finding that ball more comfortable, but I still like to see that from Angela. that long pips return again.
So the serve back to Ekholm, 9-7. Chance for the Crocs to close out game one. That's beautifully done. Dvorak, the veteran from Poland, he was the #2 pick in the MLTT draft. And the Crocs able to close out game one. Florida back on the move in doubles. Struggled in singles at the start today. We've seen throughout much of the season the doubles component has been a massive positive for Florida. 11-7.
Left-handed combinations are much more convenient for staying out of each other's way and having your powerful forehand in play. They serve the space better in general. The teams try to do that. While this team does have two choppers on them, sometimes they play together. Not always the best option for them, depending on who's playing that day. Also, that white line in the middle of the table, this is the only time it means anything. You must serve in doubles from the right side on the diagonal. That's why the umpires stand, the umpire and assistant umpire. They'll stand up to make sure the first bounce and the second bounce are in the right spot.
Dvorak and Ekholm have played doubles together every match for Florida this season. It's been the most consistent lineup in the league, and success has been pretty steady. Now 33-16 in games. They've never lost to Princeton. Be surprised if that changed tonight.
Yeah, I think after the first game, they certainly look pretty comfortable. We do have to see how the order change looks. This time, Angela will be serving and heading to Matilda Ekholm. So, Jishan nodding there that the ball just grazed the edge of the table.
0-1.
So it's actually going to be the Florida Crocs, 1-0 up here.
There's always an apology, but there's always we got to make sure you recognize that it did hit, because that is my point. I'm sorry about it, but it's my point. Yes, it did. No, it definitely did. It's my point, but I'm sorry.
See Ekholm's slightly slower pace working really well against Jishan, who's a little bit too far back. It's really hard to counter when the ball's dropping that much. Oh, never mind.
I mean, that's a special forehand from Jishan Leon.
I feel like that was just for me.
Laser. Wow, how about that point?
Brilliant stuff.
Revolution flying around. And they are back even after dropping the first 3 points here in game 2. Service error. Don't see that very often from Dvorak.
Jishan just anchoring himself about 4 feet away from the table. Pretty risky position for him to be in. He's playing some great shots from there though. that ball.
As soon as it left her paddle, she knew she mishit it. You can see the frustration. She knows she can't leave that up for Jishan to put it away.
Yeah. And there's that slow ball from Kong. As long as the ball starts dropping early, it's going to be really tough for Jishan to pick it up from under the table height. And a great serve from Matilda Ekholm. Can be a little risky to use a reverse pendulum serve in doubles. A lot of players are more comfortable serving it down the line than a cross court. Just lifted long this time.
Seven all now. A reminder that entering today's match, Princeton trailed Florida by 13 points. In the race for the final playoff spot. So at this exact moment, it's a 10-point difference in the standings. After this weekend, there's only one more regular season weekend left. These are not updated. These are after the first match tonight. So Florida's now at 183. Princeton's at 173. And a big point up for grabs here. I mean, in a lot of ways, you look at those standings, 100 some odd points, and each game is worth one, and you just like kind of inchworm your way along. But that's how you got to do it. There's no other way. You can't, except for the Golden game, obviously, you can't win 2 points during a single game. Now, I would love to see that rule change for next year. To have it be, if you sweep the first 2 games, you get all 3 points. So if that were the case, then this point would be for a de facto 2-point swing. Best point of the match so far. Jishan and Angela are back within 1. Deliver another strong serve. That did not catch, and the Crocs take game 2. A little too close for comfort, both on that last chop from Guan, nearly catching the edge, and the scoreline overall, but ultimately the result is the same, and the Crocs have 2 points courtesy of the doubles. Man, that was close.
It's not the first time Angela and Jishan have played together. 3 or 4 times, says some people that have a good sense. Now, I talked to you about the choppers. It's always interesting how you choose who will play doubles, who plays with your doubles partner. So the Florida Crocs, our Swedish player, Matilda Ekholm, is a very emotional player. You can see, no doubt about it. She wears her heart on her sleeve. Daniel Gorak, the world could be on fire, and he'd be that dog that's sipping coffee, saying everything's fine, it's fine. That's it. So they pair up nicely. Angela and Yevgen and Brzezinski very strong together, but Yevgen is sitting out today. So this is the pairing, and so far, well, it's been tight. But we'll see what happens here in this 3rd game. It's the fight to extend the lead to 6-3.
So we talked about how Gorak and Ekholm have dominated against Princeton. That has continued. However, in the 4 previous doubles matches against the Revolution, they've only swept them once. And that was back in September. So right now, Gorak and Ekholm trying to do something they haven't done since September, which is to sweep a doubles match against the Revolution.
Well, their team could certainly use that help right now, that's for sure.
When you look at the singles matches coming up, Matt, DeSantolan versus Gonzalez and Jinshin Wang versus Daniel Gorak, who has the edge on paper in those upcoming matches?
Could go either way. I mean, I think Gonzalez played against Santalan in Chicago and started out incredibly well. Like he was just on fire with forehands, but then DeSantolan just kind of ground him down and varied the defense a lot. And so that could be interesting depending on how it starts, depending on what DeSantolan learned from their last encounter.
Yep.
Jinshin Wang and Gorak, I think a lot of it depends on how Daniel plays. I mean, I've definitely seen him at his high level, but he's just been kind of not quite there these last couple of few matches for the Florida Crocs. So that could be dangerous. I think if he plays that kind of mid-level that he's been playing at, then Jinshin has a pretty reasonable chance. But if we see the Gorak of season beginnings showing up, then I'd probably give him a little bit of favor.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're almost prognosticating a 3-3 split in those next 2 singles matches.
I hadn't actually considered the scoreline part of it, but
Apology for the net ball, but a 5-3 lead as they switch sides here in game 3. Santalan did take 2 out of 3 from Gonzalez in Chicago when they met in November. Wang and Gorak, who are playing in the 4th singles spot today, have played twice before in MLTT. Both times Gorak took 2 out of 3. Good stuff from Ekholm. We've seen Liang and Guan just kind of relentlessly scrambling here. Sometimes it's impressive to watch, but you see, just, I mean, kind of the definition of off-balanced.
Yeah.
Both sides scrambling that point.
How Jishan managed to cover the wide ball twice on that, I do not know. Got pushed way off the backhand corner and then came all the way back across for the forehand.
Yeah, it was a pretty good ball by Ekholm.
Yeah.
Look at that. The initial steps, he anticipated that she was going to go there. Jishan was asking for a let.
I don't think that did. No,
Gorak
he was.
Says no.
Jishan was pointing to the other side of the table, indicating that the ball hit the wrong side, but I don't think it did. I think that was fine. Gorak saying it was a net serve. I don't think it was. I think
7-5.
Jishan was playing the wrong side, but maybe Gorak's giving them a chance to replay the ball by calling it a let instead. That kindness is going to bite them in the form of a Liang Jishan forehand.
Seven all now. So the quest to try to sweep this match, not going to be a journey with no speed bumps. Remember, Florida's out of timeouts. They used their 2 timeouts in the first 2 matches.
Just using that slow spin to her advantage.
Wow, Jishan Liang has shown off some remarkable speed and agility throughout this match to get that ball back and ultimately win the point.
Ekholm's not going to be happy with that. She had it on her racket. And just overcooked it.
Tossing the paddle in frustration. She's got that paddle back and she's got the serves at 8-all.
Vocalism from the Florida Crocs team. And this time it's Gorak that sends the ball a little long. Sticking to her plan with that slightly slower topspin opening. Just steady, consistent. It's got enough rotation to make things difficult for a player like Jishan. He's always going to pull the trigger on the big shot.
10-all. For the first time since approximately 4:45 p.m. It's been about 3.5 hours since we've seen a golden point.
10-10, Crocs serves.
10-all, Gorak will serve.
He's going to serve to Angela. So Ekholm's got to be ready to make that first opening.
She missed it. And Princeton able to salvage a point to take a 6-3 lead. And that could be big depending on how the upcoming singles matches go. Disappointing finish for Ekholm, but she still wins 2 points for her team. 11-10 in game 3, which goes to Princeton.
At 9-10, she attacked with her long kids. So Michael, Anthony, and anyone else who maybe hasn't seen professional table tennis before, those bumps on the back of Angela's racket, those bumps that look like...
Joined now by Florida's Matilda Ekholm. Matilda, as you put the headset on, I want to remind you, you won that match. So congratulations. You won that. It may not feel like it after that last point, but you did win the match. Can you describe your emotions right now?
I don't know. They called the wrong serve, and Daniel agreed to play the point again, which was clearly not good. We lost. So I'm just really, really pissed.
So going into the match, if you go back to the start of the match, let's try and take things back to to a better place at the start of the match. A lot of people who play up against Liang Jishan, they would be kind of scared of playing a slower, spinnier ball.
Yeah.
How important was that strategy for you to have confidence to play with spin and not give him pace?
Yeah, that's first of all, it's what I know, so it's easier for me to play slow than fast. But then sometimes I have to mix it up with fastball. Otherwise, he can step a little bit forward and counter attack my topspin. So I have to mix it up. But yeah, it's clearly working really well in mixed doubles in general because the guys they step back a little bit more. So yeah, I really enjoy playing mixed doubles.
I know you bring a lot of intensity to the table. Do you look at the standings? Do you understand why this match really matters in the playoff pursuit?
Oh, yeah. I know it's a very, very important match, so yeah.
Well,
but I feel like we did a really, really good match. We should have won 3-0. Bummer.
Go get some revenge in the Golden Game.
Yeah,
Matilda, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So we shift back to singles, to Santillan and Gonzalez. It's always interesting to talk to someone immediately after something heartbreaking happens. You know, I mean, she had that game on her paddle. She went for it and she missed. That was an embarrassing last shot. She knows it. She's played a long time. But she won the match. That's just a really interesting part of.
I mean, I'm happy to see that. I mean, okay, not happy for her, you know, having to to come here and do it. Looks like the Santillan wants to have the net checked. Feels like it might be a bit high in the middle, but the umpire's showing. He's asking about the tightness of the net, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I want to see that. We have post-match interviews in international tournaments all the time, and they ask how the match went, and you know, they'll interview the winners, and the winners will say, "Oh, this went really well, and I tried this." It's the same thing over and over again. I want a player to come out here, you know, when something potentially controversial happens during a match, or something doesn't go well, I would like to hear what they think about it, and I'd like them to be able to feel like they can give their honest opinion. So, I mean, it's part of why I love these post-match interviews in Major League Table Tennis, because I want to see all sides of things, and sometimes something happens out on the table, and getting a player's perspective on it, sometimes it can shift how viewers feel about it from at home as well.
We got the net situation sorted out. Santillan serving first against Daniel Gonzalez. Strikes first. It's the first time we've seen in the middle of a match like this a player ask the umpires to check the net. You have any thoughts on that?
I feel like we have seen quite a lot of net balls today in the first two matches, but generally the umpires are pretty rigorous with their checks beforehand. But yeah, I mean, during a warm-up, a player can, maybe if they clip the net too much, a player will know in their mind how they're playing the ball and what they expect to happen to the ball. So if it's clipping the net too much, it's
it's the height of the net, obviously, but it's also the tightness of the net.
Yeah, a lot of the time if the net's too loose, it's easier for the ball to kind of dribble over after it's hit the net. To get things finished in that point from the Santillan.
That point had a little bit of everything for Matthew de Santillan. His offense, his defense, and then more of his offense.
Couple of racket racket flips in there as well.
1-5.
Plays with a pimples out rubber on the backhand side. Pretty common for defensive players. But it can be really hard to generate backspin against another backspin ball. So sometimes you'll see him flip the backhand side back over to the red smooth side to get more backspin.
1-6.
Looks like DeSantolan took something away from their last encounter. He's pretty quick off the blocks here.
7-1.
He's flummoxed Gonzalez in a variety of ways. Return this right into his body. And when Gonzalez is that far off the table, he knows he has to go for something big because there's so much of the table exposed. Swing and a miss. Strike one. Good contact there, though, from DeSantolan.
There's all kinds of weirdness going on in that rally. DeSantolan flipping the racket over to hit a big backhand winner. Keeps the racket on the red side. All ends with Gonzalez dropping a double bounce. Learned a few tricks from
10-3.
teammate Daniel Gorak with that one, I think. And
11-3 for
a bit of a blowout to start the match here. DeSantolan 11 points to 3.
The last time they played, it was Gonzalez 11-4 in the opening game, and then DeSantolan turned the table. We'll see if Gonzalez can return the favor, but he certainly is a big underdog after what we just saw in those 14 points.
And then attack occasionally, attack one, push one, attack one, push one. If you attack two in a row, the second one is so heavy, most players hit it into the net. At the professional level, a little bit longer, the rally will go. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some longer rallies in this one. The difference is, remember, Matthew DeSantolan drills so fast that he can get the attacking rubber, his red rubber on his backhand or his forehand, wherever he needs. So a lot of spin variations to come. That's the name of the game. The best advice I ever got, since we have so many players who are playing against the chopper, a college coach in Taiwan said, use your eyes with the level of the ball. Get low, because you're going to need your
Princeton Revolution squeak out a win in that third game in doubles, and they'll get a dominant route in game one of this third singles match. So it looked like it was going to be a 5-4 score, now 7-3 in Princeton's favor. And the Revolution in a fantastic position here. Again, they started the day 13 points behind Florida in the standings. They won this match 17-4, which is, I don't know if I'd say likely, but not necessarily out of the question. Florida and Princeton would be tied heading into the rest of the weekend. But swing of the momentum in the opening 2 points of this game. Gonzalez with a couple of big forehands, finding his rhythm. What a point. I mean, just watch Matthew DeSantolan's footwork. I was just watching his feet that point. It's like he does a foot fire drill in between every single shot.
Yeah, it's not easy work being especially a modern defender and having to balance in the attacking as well.
And he's anticipating Gonzalez's short shots. So he's almost leaning forward, ready to pounce forward, because he knows he can handle anything off his heels, because that's his style. I think that's one of the big adjustments from last time to this time.
This time, DeSantolan returning serve with a kind of backhand punch. Certainly mixing in a lot of different combinations here. So strong on variation, DeSantolan. You can see even there, he's returning the serve with the long pip side this time. And flipping over straight away to get back to the backhand. So many different changes going on. This is one of the things that makes a mainstream kind of a person who doesn't understand as much table tennis. It makes it very difficult for them to understand just how complex things are. Is when the player's out there twiddling their racket between different rubber sides, how it affects the ball, the different spins, the different directions, the different paces. There's so much going on. But generally from the outside, you watch a point and you just kind of, it looks more basic than it is.
I know you're always okay with a ridiculous question, so here I go. Have you ever seen a player switch paddles mid-match because they have paddles with different rubbers?
It's not allowed.
Not allowed.
No. But it's not a ridiculous question because I have seen it happen illegally, and it's very frowned upon, and obviously very not okay.
Would a player like DeSantolan have a paddle or have multiple paddles with different rubbers on them, or are all of his paddles, you think, identical? Because could he decide, you know, say after a game or before the golden game, like, oh, well, I'm not really feeling these pips tonight, so I'm going to go the same
That's a
sided?
possibility. I don't think they would be different. Maybe he would have different weights. Particularly as a modern defender, I mean, you could have a heavier defensive racket for when he's feeling that he needs to play chop more or when he needs to defend more. And then you might have a lighter racket for when he's feeling more aggressive out there. So the weight could definitely change, but I think the general setup for players at these levels, they don't want to change too many variables going into a match. So the majority of them would probably have fairly identical spares.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, how Novak Djokovic might change rackets in the middle of a game. They probably are the same racket with the same tension, but okay, this one, whether he smashes it or just doesn't like it, just goes to get a new racket. Timeout.
It's okay. It's not tactical, just to calm down, pay a little bit tension, get back the tension. Yeah. Work for the balls, stay low, a little closer. Yeah. Because he's pushing a lot. Then you give quality on the ball. Okay. And when you make spin, you don't need to kill. It's more valuable, this rotation difference, you need like spin. Okay, and then you go back, move, running. Okay, come on.
It's so interesting to see how the dynamics on different benches work. I feel like Harbison kind of has control over his bench, with, we talked a little bit in the first match with Frank Arias when he was coaching Marc Duran. He kind of had a lot of input coming from different players at the same time, and Harbison kind of dons the role of, I've got this covered, which can make things a little bit more concise, at least for the player.
Gonzalez has rallied back, spraying balls in all directions, flummoxing DeSantolan and tying this thing up 8 apiece.
Yeah, so going back to you were mentioning about the changing rackets. You can, if your racket's damaged or broken.
Sure.
But you do have to check with the umpire first. So you'd have to present the racket to the umpire and say, hey, you know, blade's cracked, rubber's flaked off the edge or cut. And then they would basically say, yeah, you can change your racket. And in most situations, I think you would expect them to replace it with a similar or same racket.
Did you see this turnaround coming?
I didn't see it coming, but I have noticed that Gonzalez has started getting more confident on the forehand. And that can be a danger sign for DeSantolan. And he clips the net. Gonzalez is he's gonna have to shake that off in this position. He needs to focus straight away on the next point. It's unlucky, but he doesn't want to turn 1 point into 2. And
10-all.
Sends it long.
Alrighty, you know what it is. Say it with me. Golden points.
For DeSantolan, you have to ask yourself, how aggressive do you want to be here at 10-10? Receiving. My goodness. A flip of the racket in frustration as the chop return sails way long.
It's pretty tough for a defensive player to be aggressive on the serve return, but I think he probably wanted to do a little bit more with it than that. Good serve variation from Gonzalez, gets him over the line.
Gonzalez clearly has read up on how to take care of one and make it look like a music video, you know? It's a cool look. I'm working on first getting hair to grow out of the face part of my body, and then I can work on the fine tuning. Wow. I do, thank you, Patrick. Now we're talking. I asked him before, now it's when the microphone's away. Juliana, you gotta guess. Maybe we'll come talking more. What's your name, sir? Say it again? Bill, I'm Adam. Nice to meet you. What's your history with table tennis? Self-defense, just like this man here, but he's also self-attacked sometimes. We got our own chopper in the stands. I like it. This is the decider, game number 3.
Strong performance from Daniel Gonzalez to get back into it. And now it's an important rubber game here. The difference between 8-4 or 7-5.
Long yellow card was given to DeSantolan. I think he came back to the table too slow there after time was called.
Interesting. Could have also been for throwing his paddle at the end of the game.
Probably more likely.
Go!
Yellow card is just a warning. But another yellow would cost him a point, right?
Yeah, they'll give, well, it's kind of a red warning, but it's a yellow and a red together.
Yeah.
Go!
3-0 Gonzalez.
3-0.
It's an 8-2 run since Havasan took a timeout. In Florida's favor.
3.
Things could change back in the other direction pretty quickly, though. It's for DeSantolan, it's all about unsettling his opponent. Once a player gets comfortable on their forehand, and especially when they feel confident playing against chop, then it's kind of a really strong momentum to fight against. That's one way of doing it.
4-2. Crocs to serve.
Do you want to see more of that from DeSantolan?
Where applicable, yes.
Not just teeing off on every serve that comes his way like that.
No. Gonzalez is looking pretty good right now. He's finding a good balance of power and control with the forehand. Of course, we have one more singles match coming up after this one before the Golden Game. It's between Jinshin Wang and Daniel Gorak. Gonzalez just on a roll here in game 3.
Wow. Daniel Gonzalez has found his rhythm. The sun has set, but the guns are still out.
You don't get any fantasy league points for that one.
It would be great if I could get fantasy points for the things I said, because I could be bought in that department. But my goodness, the reason this stings personally is because I've got DeSantolan and our friend Sean O'Neill has Gonzalez, and there are so few differences between our lineups that I'm going to have to, grit my teeth and tip my hat to Sean. It looks like, and but as I've said, it's a long way to go this weekend.
It's a long weekend, yeah. Here's your link below, fantasizer.com. Santalan recovers the net ball. Gets that point turned around.
9-5.
Certainly not down and out yet.
And we're basically right next door to Chain of Lakes Park, which was the Boston Red Sox spring training home from 1996 to 1992. To use a baseball reference, this is basically like the bottom of the second, top of the third inning of a 9-inning game of the fantasy weekend experience. But Daniel Gonzalez has had the groove here tonight, coming from behind in game 2 and rolling here in game 3. I'm not sure many saw this coming.
I mean, one of the telltale signs is the depth of the ball. Santalan's defense a little bit too shallow. I mean, Gonzalez just on fire through games 2 and 3.
Well, he was down in game 2, came back impressively, and then just kept that momentum cooking into game 3. An 11-5 win to take 2 out of 3 and to create a pathway for the Florida Crocs to perhaps take a lead heading into the Golden Game.
Wow. After game number 1, I would like to highlight Daniel Gonzalez's performance. Raise your hand if you thought after game number 1, Florida Crocs were going to win that
As you
match.
can see, we got Daniel Gonzalez on the headset. Dan, congratulations.
And then
you lost the first game emphatically. You were down in game 2. What turned that match around for you?
I mean, I think I was rushing too much in the first set. I wanted to play a little more rhythm as I played the last time, but clearly it didn't work. So my coaches and my coach and my teammates say, hey, you need to switch it up a little bit. He also started ahead the second set, so I switched it up, I changed the tempo, and I started to fight more points. Like I thought, I don't know why, he's a defense. So I thought it would be over in 1 or 2 balls, and it's not possible. So.
Yeah, I mean, last time you played him in the beginning of the match, you looked unstoppable, and then the wheels kind of fell off a little bit. And I mean, he has. How do you deal with all the different variations out there? I mean, he's twiddling his racket a lot. He's dropping the ball short. He's doing all kinds of stuff out there. What is important for you to maintain your mental game against someone like that?
Yeah, one of the things he started to do really early was changing a lot. So he started to receive with the pimples on the forehand. He started to receive a lot of changes. So I wasn't expecting it. So after a while, I know he was going to use it, so I was more ready for it. So yeah, that was the key for it. I changed. He kept changing, but I was ready for it.
Daniel, is it fun to play against him with all the different variations he's got? You know you're going to have rallies.
When you're winning,
yeah,
it is.
I mean, yes, but I think also it helps me that I had pimples when I was legal, so I understand the pimples a lot. And it's always fun to play defense. Of course, it's better if we win, but it's more fun to play them for sure.
All right, stay hot. We'll see you in the Golden Game.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you in the Golden Game.
So the Florida Crocs are back within 2, and Daniel Gorak is trying to silence this Princeton surge. But Jin Wang taking the table for the first time at the MLTT level this year. Of course, Jin lost his mom. This is his first time playing MLTT since the passing of his mom. We send our condolences to his family, and it's obviously been a tough time for the family, but it's good to see him back on the table.
0-1.
This is an interesting match. I mean, we've seen these two guys have battles before. Gorak has won 2 out of 3, but they've had some golden points. They've played some really exciting matches. And obviously, the lead going into the Golden Game hangs in the balance, and we know how important that is.
I gotta say, man, regardless of how this match turns out, I think we're gonna have one of the grittiest Golden Games probably that we've seen in quite a while.
Just with how much it means for both teams.
These two teams need this. They need this, and they know that they need it, both of them.
That's a good point. I agree with you. It's hard to imagine that Jin Wang, after losing 4 of the 6 games he's played against Gorak, is going to get a 3-0 sweep. If we were able to get it, that would put Princeton in an unbelievable position considering where they're at right now. And teams that have a 5-0 lead entering the Golden Game are now 23-2. Teams that have a lead entering the Golden Game are 50-15.
Gorak's really got to use speed to his advantage. It's just his biggest strength. The wrist rotation on the backhand, the snap that he gets in the forehand. He's such a quick player, but just some things have been off. I mean, this is a huge problem with table tennis. I mean, because it's such a difficult sport and because there are so many complexities, if your timing gets slightly out or you lose a little bit of confidence over the course of a few months, it can have huge impacts on your performance. Gorak's got to get himself in the zone. He's a better player than the results that have kind of followed him in the last few matches.
They clearly struggled in November with that Chicago event. He went 3-6 in singles and 4-5 in doubles. It was the only subpar weekend that he and Matilda have had in doubles.
5-7.
They both bounced back and were great in the interdivisional weekend. He was 10-2 in singles, 10-2 in doubles. But against his East Division foes last month in Hollywood, Florida, he's struggling again in the singles department. They rediscover their groove in doubles. Remember, Gorak, the very first weekend of the season, was like the Golden Game king. He went 17 of the first 21 points he played. So he was literally 17-4 in the Golden Game. But he enters this weekend, 55 points won in the Golden Game, 54 points lost. So obviously being around 500, above 500 in the Golden Game, solid. But since that first weekend, he has fallen off. Now, is that regression to the mean? Is that inevitable?
I mean, I think there was like a bit of a turning point. I don't know if this has any impact on him or not, but from a mental standpoint, he went into that Chicago weekend basically having just become the highest rated player in the US. He was the #1 player literally a week before that Chicago match. So I don't know whether that impacted him a little bit, but he's kind of down here in the Tampa area, a lot more focused on coaching, and it's really difficult if you're not practicing all the time. It's tough. It's tough to keep up the level that's needed to compete with players of this level. So that, I would say, is probably a factor. That he's just really focused on coaching.
Jin Wong with a strong response to that serve.
A couple of happy owners there, Andre Liu and Roger Kang.
Yeah, you don't see those two apart from each other all that often.
No, they're a devious duo, if I don't say so myself. But both fantastic guys. And must be said that the Revolution team are very, very lucky to have them. They've just been a huge support pillar for the team.
Well, Jin Wong could use a boost right here because Gorak's fought off a couple of game points on Wong's serve. And now Gorak to serve at 10-all. Golden point. And Jin Wong able to get it done. We've seen this a bunch today, Matt. A player coming back from 2-3 game points down to really put the pressure on, but the Princeton Revolution just guaranteed themselves a lead going into the Golden Game.
Which means that Princeton Revolution either start up 5-0, or they'll split the next 2 games, start up 3-0 in the Golden Game, or lose the next 2 and start out with a 1-0 lead in the Golden Game. Golden Game, the whole team will come back. Hassan, where are you at? I see you with your hat. You see me? I'm wearing colorful clothing. We see each other. It's like Avatar. Slightly less romantic. Okay, the first one, not the second one. Do not see it. I'm trying to stand here and find it. Really, right, not expression. Anyway, you asked about the Golden Game. The Golden Game will determine the winner here today.
So it's 8-5 Princeton. The Revolution will have at least a 1-point lead at the start of the Golden Game. And to remind you of how important that is, teams with a lead going into the Golden Game have won about 77% of the time. But all leads going into the Golden Game are obviously not equal. And that's what Jin Wong is playing for here. Now, the interesting irony that we uncovered and discussed a month ago in Broward County, teams with a 1-0 lead entering the Golden Game, you might think, oh, that's the least significant lead you can have. Well, not according to what we've seen so far, because teams with a 1-0 lead entering the Golden Game have won 74% of the time, nearly 3 out of 4. Teams with a 3-0 lead, on the other hand, are 10-7. That's a 59% win rate. Which is notably less than the 74% rate with a 1-0 lead. To get the 5-0 lead at the start, good night. Teams have won 92% of the time with a 5-0 lead. Again, not that Jin Chin Wong is thinking, well, I need either both these games or none of these games. That's not, he wants them all. And he would love to win 2 out of 3 and give his team a 3-0 lead. What, if anything, would you have said, Coach Hetherington, to Daniel Gorak after that first game?
It's really putting me on the spot with that one. I think just to figure out the positioning a bit better. I think even throughout some of the points, we're seeing him take the forehand ball a little bit late. So just to give himself a little bit more space. This is, yeah, I mean, if he's balanced and he's in good position, in the rally, he's really solid. But it's about being balanced enough to put pressure on the opponent. I mean, he's got the hand speed, certainly. But I felt definitely in the first game that he was just a little bit late. He kind of turns away from the table a bit when he's out of position, and the ball ends up in line with his body, and yeah.
6-5.
Fantastic dueling short shots at the start of that rally. Gorak's got a 7-5 lead here in game 2.
And I feel also, on a few occasions, he tends to take the backhand a little bit early when it's slow. It's a little bit risky. Sometimes the angle's a little bit off for him. Just needs to take some more time to build his shots up, get the timing of the shots in front of his body more, especially on the forehand.
Let's.
That's Daniel Gorak right there.
Yeah, that you can tell, like, the weight transfer if you compare that to the last forehand that he played at the end of the first game. Just having that rotation that goes into the ball. A risky step around coming from Gorak. You could see Wong had the perfect line down the forehand line there. Gorak straight away opting to step around.
10-7 lead. tell you, there have been more game points saved today in the two-team matches than maybe any other day this season. Number of games we've had from 10-7 to 10-10 or 10-5 to 10-8. Gorak a chance to close it out on his paddle. And that'll do it.
11-8.
So it's 8-6 on the team tally. And Gorak and Wong will be even one game apiece. One more game still to play before we get to the monstrous golden game that's coming up between the Revolution and the Crocs. Stay with us.
Anyway, we'll work on the microphone stuff later. Big win there, Florida Crocs fighting back. 5 points now on that scoreboard, or is it 6? I think it's gonna be 6. That was big. And now, at 1-1, we've got one more game, the decider, to determine how many points Princeton Revolution start with. They could whittle it down to just one, the Florida Crocs. And 1 point, it's enough to win. At 2020, it's an ultimate golden point. But it's anyone's game. You win that first point when you're down 0-1, suddenly it's even, and let's just say this.
Well, the Crocs know that they will be trailing going into the golden game. The question is, will they start 1-0 down or 3-0 down?
The game is coming up now. If you're a Florida Crocs fan,
Matt, the very first golden game in 2024 was that Chicago comeback against Carolina.
Shy college students,
there have been 12 golden games since.
Third game.
All 12 have been won by the
Crocs
team
serve.
that started in
0-0.
See if that trend keeps going. If so, everybody look out. There may be barriers flying in this building in about 25, 30 minutes.
Is that victory thrown barriers?
Yes,
or
yes, that's become a thing for the Princeton owners.
Just checking.
So yeah, put your helmets on, folks.
Oh, that ain't coming back.
1-1.
Correct. Taking a bit of a rest down the line to go inside out.
Revolution
See
serve.
that fade. Just carried the ball wider.
That's Wong's point. Hit his paddle, but it never hit the table.
Wang getting backed up a little bit off the table. He's pretty solid when it comes to playing the forehand counter rallies. Gets good rotation, but as soon as the ball switches across and it's softer, sometimes a little bit too soft.
Two.
3-2 lead for Wong. This game just has the feel of another 11-9, 11-10 duel.
Big play there from Wang Jinshin.
4-2. Revolution to serve.
Suddenly uses his height to his advantage when the ball pops up.
Jinshin Wang owns a coveted victory that only 4 other players in the league have enjoyed this year. The feeling of winning an ultimate golden point. In fact, the most recent ultimate golden point was when Princeton came back against Texas. I think you were calling that one, weren't you?
I can't remember.
This
is December.
Wong over Kasahara.
That was like last year, dude.
It was last year.
Jinshin against Kasahara. If it was on table 1 and I was with Sean. Probably remember, if it was on table 2, I was probably too busy spinning the wheel of insanity to remember anything about what happened on the table.
I'm pretty sure it was table 2.
Okay. That makes sense then.
You know what? I'll tell you exactly in a second.
There's the remaining schedule for the season. Obviously, after this, there is one more East match. There's a couple of West matches left, including Everett, Washington at the end of this month, and then the final 4 face-off in Chicago, April 27th to 28th. You get your tickets at mltt.com/tickets.
That was brilliantly done.
Thank you.
It was table 2, but you were on table 1.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't.
Fine. We're still going here.
That's back on. That's back on.
That's
you can't make this stuff up. Daniel Gorak.
I need a replay, and I need to watch it like 5 more times.
Coming back from seemingly impossible. And he hit the ball so high. Look at the return. To be able to counter the ball after retrieving that. That's amazing stuff from Daniel Gorak.
And Gorak surges into the lead here in game 3. As you start to think about the golden game order, you wonder what the coaches are contemplating. The player that probably struggled most today of the 2 teams was Mark Duran, who was blanked by Jishan.
Yeah.
So the sweep we've seen, and the general sweep we will see in this team match.
I'd probably be trying to match Duran up with Jinshin, maybe. I think he's played quite well against Jinshin on previous occasions, and maybe the pace is a little bit more comfortable for him. But if Duran goes in against Jishan, I think it's going to be a bit of a rocky road.
Gorak back within 1. By the way, the other players in the league who have won an ultimate golden point so far this year?
Amy Wong.
That's 1. No. She did not win an ultimate.
Ojo. Ojo's 1, right?
Ojo won the first one.
Fabiola?
Yep.
Is East or West?
Both West.
Tawan Shah?
Over Jiwei Shah. And the one you haven't mentioned, guy who usually takes a lap after each point, he almost ran around the entire...
Adi Serene.
That's right. Against Cole. And 10-9 now for Gorak. See if Jinshin Wong can create another moment in Major League Table Tennis here for him and his team. Gorak 1 point away from getting this back to a 8-7 game. That'll work for Daniel Gorak. Impressive grit from the veteran. And Gorak has made things as close as they could be heading into the golden game. And it's a monumental golden game ahead. Princeton leads 8-7. The golden game, moments away.
The golden game. This is the game that only exists in MLTT. 6 points right now. It's either going to be a 14-7 win for Princeton.
All right, let's take a look back at how this match went down. Liang Jishan was unstoppable against a kind of cold and uncharacteristic Mark Duran. Koyo Kanemitsu had a tough start against Brossier, but man, he stepped things up. Really brought some incredible table tennis. The doubles went mainly the way of the Florida Crocs, but the golden point in the last went to the Revolution. It was 2-1 in the end for the Florida Crocs. And then we came into the next match, which was between Matthew de Santillan and Daniel Gonzalez. Gonzalez got wiped in the first, but came back and took 2 for the Crocs. And then we ended with Daniel Gorak sealing not the lead, but closing the gap for the Florida Crocs by taking 2 games to 1 against Jinshin Wang.
Flint Lane, the commissioner, also
Moment we've all been waiting for. Let's do it. Golden game time. Here's Flint Lane.
Thank you, Adam. The Princeton Revolution are leading 8-7. You'll be starting with a 1-point lead. You'll pick first, Coach.
Daniel Gorak.
Daniel Gorak is your number 1.
Shinjin Wang.
Shinjin Wang is your number 1. Your number 2?
Koyo Kanamitsu.
Koyo Kanamitsu is your number 2.
Benjamin Brossier.
Benjamin Brossier is your number 2. And your 3?
Mark Duran.
Mark Duran is your 3.
Jishan Liang.
Jishan Liang is your 3 and your 4.
Mathieu de Saint-Hilaire.
Mathieu de Saint-Hilaire is your 4.
Daniel Gonzalez.
Daniel Gonzalez is your 4, making Matilda Ekholm your 5, making Angela Guan your 5. Good luck, coaches.
Good luck.
What do you think, Matt?
I think the one thing that stood out to me was after Frank Arias chose Brossier, I was a little surprised to see with him picking Duran first. I would have probably expected to see him using Duran to follow up and give him a different order. I think he left it open for Duran to end up against Jishan. It was a little obvious, but looks like we'll have the same order. I mean, looking at where the scoreline is, you can't fault either coach for trying to stick to their guns on this one. So we'll see how it plays out in the golden game. I'm sure the Crocs will be hoping that a fresh Mark Duran comes out here and seals some points for them. Golden game, totally different animal.
It is ultimate golden point.
So at this exact moment, Florida has a 12-point lead over Princeton. This is the difference of whether it's a 6-point lead or an 18-point lead in the race for the final playoff spot. And Jinshin Wang showing off a little frustration after the singles match. Makes it 2-0 for Princeton. Again, you would not think that the 1-point lead at the start of the golden game would be that significant. However, teams with a 1-0 lead entering the golden game are 17-6. And 2 out of 3 points there for Jinshin Wang to set the tone. It's a 3-1 lead as Koyo Kanamitsu returns to the table. Remember, in game 3 against Benjamin Brossier, it was all Koyo. He won 11-3.
Question is whether the golden game gives game 1 vibes or game 3.
Brossier back within 1.
Yeah, and remember Koyo's coming back in off the bench again, so Brossier knows how to hit the ground running.
Two straight for Brossier, and we're tied 3 apiece.
Great acceleration over the table.
Putting the pressure on early, taking the ball on the rise. 4, serving 3.
One more point, and Duran and Liang. Oh, big response from Koyo Kanamitsu to earn the split of the 4-point sequence. And now, see if Duran has made any adjustments since Liang had his way.
He looks a little more pumped up from the get-go here.
Duran serves first.
There he is.
Duran
That's Mark
with his
Duran. He's
loudest
back.
roar of the night.
Where was that roar earlier?
Beautiful backhand, deep line, aggressive inside the table. 6-4.
Too good from Leong. When he gets that forehand in rhythm, good balance, not much you can do. Duran
A little
earns the split.
pump fake on the flip there from Duran. Crocs need to make a bit more leeways in here than just taking splits. If they split the whole way through the golden game, they're going to end up losing.
Certainly within striking distance, though. It's not like they're down 17-5.
Gonzalez could be the player to make that difference for them.
His performance against Santalan in that third singles match changed the momentum of this entire match.
Oh, what an angle.
Incredible dig. Just to get this ball back, but to do it with the angle and the spin.
That angle was phenomenal.
Wow, what a
Huge
response.
point.
Gonzalez shows the defense.
Just solid control against an attacking Mathieu de Santalan. Gonzalez turned things around.
Three out of four for Gonzalez, and we are tied 8-all. Here come the ladies.
Given how much confidence Matilda Ekholm has had in her slow spin game in the doubles, let's see how she does here against the defense of Angela Guan.
Golden Games this year, Ekholm has fared much better than Guan.
Guan wins both points on Ekholm's serve. Princeton leads by 2 again.
See Ekholm really trying to wrap around the ball there. Ends up driving it into the net. Ekholm getting herself pumped up. She's a player that gets frustrated with herself when she's making errors. More linear follow through gives her the safer shots, and she'll split after starting 2-0 down.
Yeah, all 4 points won by the returner in that quartet. Back to the top of the order.
Jin Wong and Daniel Gorak. The last 4 points they'll play tonight, unless it's 20-all.
The Revolution players are just killing those wide forehand angles.
Every point feels pivotal right now.
Gorak loses both points on his serve, so that's now 6 points in a row won by the returner.
See if that streak keeps going.
Jinshin making it count in the golden game.
13-10 in the second serve for the professor.
Jinshin Wang looking for a golden sweep.
He's not going to get it. Daniel Gorak claims the last point. Kanamitsu back into the table.
Glad to meet you on the other
So
side.
Jinshin Wang
13.
won 5 of the 7 points he played against Gorak here in the golden game.
Brassier gets the ball deep to the backhand again. It's a strategy that he used a lot in the singles.
Only reason I mention that, Matt, is because if it is 2020, we'll see them again with 1 point
Timeout,
hanging
Revolution.
in the balance.
Timeout
Princeton's
call
going
by
to take
the
a timeout
team.
here,
That
so
was a little
Take a deep breath, everybody, and
It was
listen
much
in.
chance, so the first you don't need to kill you. When you open the ball and he blocked, then you go for it. Okay.
So first ball better I put on table than
Exactly, and then he normally play like this and then you go. Okay. No problem. Stay confident. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. Run.
It's always funny to me when the players go back to the bench and their kind of self-reflection is, I put ball on table, you know. In their head, there are so many different elements that play into that, but at the end of the day, it's really that simple. Slow down, get the ball in play.
Net ball helps out Brossier. A few points ago, Jinshin Wang was going for a sweep, and it was Princeton up 13-10. But now all of a sudden, Florida's fought its way back again.
13 all. Koyo serving.
Oh my, Brossier fights off the deep serve and steals the point. Florida leads.
13-14.
Pretty crazy. 13 serving 14.
Heavy backspin serve from Koyo. He picks up the free point and things are tied up again. As Jishan Liang comes back in against Mark Duran.
These two guys split their 4 points earlier this golden game.
Different leverage, different pressure at 14 all.
And a different Duran as well.
15 serving 14.
Reminder, Matt, Florida's going to be in second place heading into tomorrow, regardless of what happens here. But this is for the Crocs having an 18-point lead over the Revolution, or just a 6-point lead heading into Saturday. Leon brings Princeton back within 1.
15 serving 16, looking to tie it up.
And Duran kind of floats the forehand receive.
Nothing between them except
Didn't really do anything with that.
Tied again, 16 all. It's Gonzalez and DeSantalon.
DeSantalon's going to have to raise the bar here.
Big fist pump from DeSantalon.
Mentally huge point when the pressure's on. To be able to force a forehand error like that could pay some psychological dividends for DeSantalon.
Into the barrier, into the first row goes DeSantalon.
That's the VIP experience.
Yeah,
It's a
really.
meet and greet with the players during the match. No autographs on this round, but it's a MLTT, an immersive front row experience.
Welcome to Jurassic Park right there.
17 all.
Gonzalez has figured this thing out. The ladies will be on the table next. Will it be tied?
Or will Florida go ahead by 2?
It will be tied 18 all as Gonzalez and DeSantis split 4 riveting points.
I knew this. I knew this was going to be a gritty golden game.
And now it's Guan versus Ekholm. Each player has a chance to win it for their team. If they split the 4 points, it'll be up to Jinshin Wang and Daniel Gorak to decide everything. Ekholm serves first. And she missed it. Now remember, Matt, last time between these two, the returner won all 4. But the pressure will be on Matilda in a huge way if she can't win this point here on her serve. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that? This cruel, cruel game. 20-18, Princeton leads by a net ball.
20-18.
Ekholm again needs to replicate what she did earlier, winning both points on Guan's serve. That's 1. We are 1 point away from our first ultimate golden point since December 1st in Major League Table Tennis. Gorak and Wang are ready. Angela Guan with the match on her paddle. It's over! The Princeton Revolution are within 6 points in the East Division as Angela Guan outduels Matilda Ekholm, and the Revolution win it 21-19.
That is a rough break for Ekholm. But Angela Guan holding steady. She's been in that position a couple of times before. It's not an easy position to be in, especially as a defensive player. You really only have so many options when you're defending. Angela Guan and the Princeton Revolution team will be thrilled with that result. A tough break for the Florida Crocs. They really put themselves in a better position in that golden game.
Follow them on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and the other
Once again, the team that had the lead going into the golden game does it. That's 13 straight, where the team that enters with a lead prevails. Saw Florida take the lead in that golden game, but Matthew DeSantalan with a clutch point to get the ladies back to the table tied. And what a win for Matthias Habasson and the Princeton Revolution. Wow. Matthias joins us now. Congratulations. You had it all the way. Never a doubt. What were the emotions like as you watched that golden game, Matthias?
I think every kind of emotion. I mean, honestly, I mean, we are not allowed to lose. You know that. We are behind a few points still. And yeah, I mean, this is so close and everything is running so fast. We were up like 7-3 and in this set then 8-3 and it's turning around totally until the golden game. And also in the golden game, it was really thrilling. I'm really out of control right now. I'm sorry.
Absolutely don't have to apologize because we're the same here. Unfortunately
really.
for you, you're in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You've got to feel pretty good kind of coming back to your full lineup, to your strong lineup. I mean, you guys did phenomenally last month in Florida with the lineup that you had then. How does it feel to have the team that you have here and to have Koyo and to have Jinshin back as well?
Yes, I mean, of course, yeah. For the whole team, it's a very nice thing because table tennis is also a lot about confidence and stuff like this. And as a teammate, if you know, okay, you're a little stronger from the paper, from the lineups, you also play a little bit more relaxed, for sure. But today showed us that sometimes it doesn't really matter so much who is playing, you know. It's like table tennis in general is a very quick sport, and on a relatively even level, a lot of things can happen, and especially in this kind of system, which I love, which is thrilling, it's even more things can happen in a short period of time, and so. We have a very strong lineup. I told you in advance. For us, there are no excuses. This weekend, for sure, we have our strongest team here, and I mean, now I'm just happy that we won somehow. But I must also say that there was a situation in between in the doubles where I was sitting in back. I had no chance to see it, but Zhishan lifted the hand and said, okay, the service of Daniel Gorak was on the wrong side. They said no. And I really need to say thanks to one of the biggest gentlemen in the world of table tennis, Daniel Gorak, that he said, okay, let's repeat the ball. So this was a very, very kind and fair move from him, and this I really wanted to mention also on TV.
Before we let you go, your team started this year 1-6.
Yeah.
Now you're 9-8. You're within 6 points of a playoff spot. How has your team figured it out over the course of the season to turn it around, to play your best? And you're not in the playoffs yet, but you are in position to be in position.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were just a few tools to turn a little bit, but also I think we handle better the golden game now. I mean, this is a key point in this system, and in the beginning, I mean, we didn't feel so well in the golden game. One time I made a little mistake in one lineup in Myrtle Beach, and in the end that costs a lot during the season. But I think these kind of things we make better now. The team works more together than in the beginning, of course, because we know each other better now. Everybody knows better what the teammate needs, or me as a coach, I know what the players need, and there are small things.
You got about 18.5 hours before your first player will be back on the table tomorrow as you face Chicago. We'll let you go. Congrats on the great win tonight.
Thank you
Exciting
so much.
stuff. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Matthias Habasson, the head coach of the Princeton Revolution. He's been the head coach of the Austrian national team. He's still a competitive player, and man, what an emotional roller coaster that was. Angela Guan was in the front row seat of the roller coaster at the end. So you and Matilda have had a lot of battles this year. In your Golden Game points, the returner kept on winning the point.
Yeah.
What was going on?
I have no idea. After the first round of Golden Game, I was like, what's happening? So this time around, when it was 2019, I was like, no, this can't keep happening. I need to win this point.
What did you do on that serve at 20-19?
Well, my teammates were just reminding me and cheering me on, telling me to be confident, trust myself, and then telling me, like, oh, use my backhand serve, or honestly, they're just like, just go with your guts.
Now, in the doubles in particular, we saw you starting to use the backhand side a little bit more aggressively sometimes. Is that something that you're trying to work in a bit more? I feel like in the topspin situations, not just in the doubles, but also in the Golden Game, you seem to defend sometimes a little bit less. Is that something that you're actively trying to do to try and control the table a bit more and take the ball a little bit earlier sometimes?
Yeah, last time we were actually we were up and lost a lot of matches 1-2. So we lost because we just kept doing the same thing. So why not just change it up? Whatever's not working, why don't you change? So that's why I'm trying it out.
Angela,
seems like it's working.
When you got the game-winning point to clinch the match, and your owners storm the court and flip, I mean, are you thinking about wearing a helmet for match point in the Golden Game?
I think there's things flying on both sides, so yes.
Have you gotten more comfortable in the Golden Game if you think back to how you felt September, October, or is it still just this kind of fly by the seat of your pants crazy experience that you can never feel comfortable in?
I think it takes time to get used to, and it's been a character growth opportunity playing the Golden Game. And I see all players, honestly, in MLTT growing as a result. So I think this helps translate over to the regular best of 5 or best of 7 games as well, especially in the critical points.
Well said. We'll let you go. You got a match in 18 and a half hours, so we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Congratulations, Angela. Matt, final thoughts from you on this evening where the East playoff race tightens even more. Princeton wins that Golden Game, and I mean, look at those standings. It's anybody's game, anybody's guess right now as to who emerges in the 2 spot. I think it's pretty safe to say Carolina's got a ticket punch to Chicago for the championship event. But
yeah,
you know, this win for Princeton doesn't knock Chicago out of it either. They have 2 good days against Florida and Princeton. They could make up some ground.
Yeah, I think the tactic for the 2, 3, and 4 teams right now is to try and, you know, each weekend they come here, it's about grabbing as many points against Carolina as they possibly can, and then to try and go in hard on the other teams. So, yeah, I think, you know, we didn't see Pinto playing when they came up against the Carolina Gold Rush. They sat him. They did their best against Carolina. I can see Pinto coming out strong against the Crocs and Revolution.
We also didn't see Evgen Przeszepa today. He played pretty darn well a month ago.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
There are a lot of good players on these teams. Someone's got to sit. But, goodness, I mean, we didn't see Ojo Onalapo either. You know, Florida might have missed him in the Golden Game. He's had some magical moments in Golden Games this year. Riveting stuff to finish this first night of our Winter Haven weekend in the middle of Florida. Great to be back in the Sunshine State. Great to have such exciting action. The Carolina Gold Rush win it 16-5 over the Chicago Wind. And the Princeton Revolution prevail 14-7 over the Florida Crocs. Angela Guan closes out the Golden Game 21-9, celebrates with her teammates and owners. For Matt Hetherington, our entire crew, Evan Lepler saying good night. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, MLTT here in Winter Haven, Florida.